Okay, this is a replacement recording for tape 629 in the Yerushalmi series, which evidently is the wrong recording. And this is for Chaf Hamid Bays in Bava Kamma. The first two dots of a Rishon, and I think we'll have to do it in two sections, but we're going to have to get all the way because we're going to have to get the Chaf Chesam and Aleph. Okay, so of a Rishon Velokiso. So the Mishnah said that if a first person passed by and didn't cover a bor, and this is a bor of two shutrim, the two partners. So the first person partner passed by and didn't cover it. Sheni Velokiso, and the second guy didn't pass by and didn't cover it either. Sheni Chai. The second guy is Chai because he was the last one to pass over, and he's responsible. Right? But by business Shem Biyasi B'Shem Biyam said no similar shahus. We give him time. If I get the bor got uncovered inadvertently, give him time. A lot of time, evidently. The gross arozimin halavano to cut down cedar trees from Lebanon. East Bay Chumra, East Bay Kula. This leads to sometimes a Chumra and sometimes a Kula. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes it happens in a town which is near Lebanon, so it's easy to get to the cedar trees. Sometimes they are further from Lebanon, so it's harder to get to the cedar trees on time. So I write on the side of my Gemara that it seems there's a fundamental machlokes between Bavli and Yerushalmi. According to the Bavli, the first guy, the first partner is chayiv, unless he left the second guy actually using it or gave him the cover. That's Bavli and Nun Alpha Beis. Therefore, the Gemara and the Bavli Nun Beis asks where he left the second one using it. And then they came back and told the first guy that the second guy didn't cover it properly. Does he become obligated or not? And so that's an issue of who's in charge of Shmiras Nizakin, of watching that this bor should not be mazik. And there it says the first guy has only comes chayav after they told him that the second guy had left it uncovered. After the amount of time elapses for them to let him know, and for him to hire workers and cut down cedar trees and cover it. But according to Yerushalmi, even the first guy is poshea. He was negligent and left the bor uncovered. As long as the second guy came afterwards and was poshea after him, the second guy is chayav, not the rishon. And this is what Yerushalmi is discussing here. And here, it all doesn't say anything about notifying him, as does in the Bavli, because the Bavli, the first guy needs to be notified because he left the second guy using it. But in the Yerushalmi, he knows because it's talking about the second guy. He was only chayav. He's only chayav after he had enough time had elapsed for him to procure a cover and to cover it. Okay, so the second Bavli, the first guy gets time because he left the second guy using it, and he only comes chayav once he becomes aware of it, and they let him know, and then he has to go through the process of finding somebody to workers to cover it. Here, the clock starts ticking immediately because the second guy knows that he left it uncovered, so therefore he is immediately the clock starts ticking that for him to have enough time to go. And I think obviously the Lebanon is a bit of an exaggeration. Perhaps you can go to the local lumber store. I don't think he gets the chance to go to Lebanon and find say, well, I need to get cedar trees specifically from Lebanon. Okay, so it's kiso karoi. You cover it properly. Then you're potter. Yeva adhechan kiso. How much you have to cover it? What's the karoi? Yeva kaidetintam. It's like we learned over there. Kadeshe te agola ma'aleches, that a wagon should be able to travel to una avonim, covering stones over the top of this covering. Rabbi Yehuda tocho. If something fell into the bor, ben shefona ben she'achrav. Here, if you take a look in the Ridbaz, it says he changed the girsa. Rabbi Yehuda tocho ben shelefonov ben she'achrav chayav. Instead of potter chayav. Chutzalo, the front of chayav akra patur. Chutzalo, then it's the front of it changes to chayav la'akra patur. And not just Ribas changed it, a bunch of other Achronim changed it, the Ephraim, the Shaitar. So I wrote on the side here, how evidently it falls outside the bore. It fell outside the bore because of the sound being made by the person digging the bore. And it was too much, it was a shock to the animal fell down. So it's very, how can we chayav? If it fell outside the bore, it's a grama. Rashi says in the Bavli, Adapnim Gimon Alf, explicitly. The granat is one of the Achronim. He was Naftali Trop. He was Rosh Yeshiva Chavetz Chaim in the Rad in the Chavetz Chaim Yeshiva. The granat wants to say that it's talking about where it fell from the bore on a mound around the bore. I don't understand exactly what it's talking about, but how that works out. But in any event, there's nothing here about no clues to that in Yerushalmi. So it has to. So it seems that the Torah, the Tosfos read here writes at the bottom. That's Ribaz's version of Tosfos. That the Bar Shchibla Torah, it's even on Kol Kriya, even on it's not just on the bor itself, but even on the process of creating the bor. And I write here that maybe that pshat is because it says in Torah, Ki Yichre Ish Bor. It doesn't say if a person has a bor. It says if a person is digging a bor, right? Ki Yichre Ish Bor. So even in the process of digging, if the noise or the vibrations or something like that causes damage, you're also chayav in that. It's not going to be a grama. It's going to be a form of damage. So let's read inside based on that assumption. Again, according to Reed Baz. Rabbi on the tocho, if it fell inside, ben shafana, ben l'achrav, if it fell forwards or backwards, doesn't matter, chayav. Because it got damaged by falling into the bore. Chutzalo, if it fell outside the bore, lefanov, if it fell forwards, it's chayav. I guess because that's to be expected, and therefore the person digging the bore is chayav for having caused that to occur. La'akrav patur, if it fell backwards, that's unusual, and therefore it's like an onus, and therefore the person is patur. Okay, I guess oxen fall forwards usually, not backwards. Okay. Navatal is shor v'kelev nishtabru. If an ox and its equipment fell in and broke, chamor became the scarrow, a donkey and its equipment fell and broke. Chayv al behemo pato came. You chayv on the animal and you're exempt on the kelim. Shmuel says, "B'trifu machmas aviro." That if they went to, they got spoiled on account of the airspace. Avol imichnechva bakarka. But if they got bumped on the ground, chayav. So what's Moshe say here? Very long Bnei Moshe. It's Bnei Moshe 7 lines to the bottom. Bishi tree machasir hadam asis and plate of bekalim. Tablish shenitfu nishbru machmas avir vehebel abor. The Shmuel has feeling the bor shchibel of Torah bein hablo bein chavoto. The kain ma'it michuv is a bor in pakim machmas heblo hudi might. So it's a very strange thing, and I never really understood this either. Bavli or Yerushalmi, this idea bor shchibel of Torah machmas aviro. It's because of the air of the bor. They had some theory that the air of the bor is hot and moist and humid and whatever, and therefore it has very negative impacts. And sometimes it's according to one opinion, the air itself which kills. Not the shock of hitting the bore, not hitting the ground. Okay. Right? So that's called machmas hevlo. So so he says, when is it potter? You're potter if it's machmas avir, if the kalim were damaged because of the air, some of the kalim burst. Nechma b'karko because nechma b'karko you're chayiv on the kelim. So if you take a look at the read bars here, it says Shmuel Amar B'Yitrim Machasira Yichma B'Karko Chayiv B'Perish Tagilim B'Shem Rambanzel Chabot Habe Mamono Kemo Shor Flobor. The reason why B'Chavot you're chayiv if the kelim broke because they hit the ground, it's because it's not your bore. A bore is only chayiv on account of hevel. But if it hits the ground, it's like it's like a shore. It's like your mammon amazik. Because when you dug the bore, you made a kinyan in that ground. There's a Gemara Bava says two things don't belong to a person, but the pasuk considers them if they're his, and one of them is bore. So the evidently the bore is considered yours, and it's considered nizkei moment. It's like your ox damage, and your ox is chayiv for damaging clothing or equipment of any sort, whereas your bore is not. I mean, I feel nechla b'karko potter. No, as we're going to see in a moment, they hold that even if the equipment was damaged on account of the ground, it's potter. Derech nefila potter Torah. This is since it's derech nefila Torah potter kelim, even if they got damaged by hitting the ground. That's what we're about to see. Rabbi Yochanan Shlokish Tarvein Armin. They both say. I feel nechla b'karko potter derech nefila potter Torah. Torah potter if it falls into a bore. And we learn it from Zer's Kosim. Nava Shama Shor Chamor Shor Bekela. The ox itself, not the ox in its equipment. Chamor Bekela. The donkey, not the donkey in its equipment. Shor Bedin. Couldn't make Habachomer. Mine born Nizokim. Shepotim in Amisa. A boar which can cause damage and not kill an animal. It's part of the animal dies. No. A boar which can kill a person, I think. No, the boar can kill an animal. A boar which can't. A boar which can't. Your part of an animal dies by falling there. Chayv boar boar which is 10 fucking deep. So we're chayv if an animal dies in there. Chayv kalim, right? Boar enodin chayv kalim. Tamlon right now for shama shor or chamor shor v'lo shor bekelav chamor v'lo chamor bekelav. Having the side Gemara, this Yerushalmi is not like the Bavli Dafnim Gimel base. According to the Bavli, our mission is not like Rabbi Yehuda is mechayiv in this case kelim before, but the Rabban who pater. In other words, you're either if you're not chayiv in bor, a bor tisha, you're pater on these kelim as well. There is no chayiv ever on these kelim before, right? Not even 9 fucking. You're not chayiv even a 9 fucking. So there, the Yerushalmi holds that obviously differently, and it's especially discussive on a bor which you're chayiv in the zakin 9 fucking. You're pater on you're pater on shore, and a bor 10 fucking you're pater on both. Right? You're chayiv on the shore, but you're pater on the zakin. Okay. Navato shor cheres shoyt b'kotan chayiv. Shor cheres shoyt b'kotan pelin is chayiv. That's a quote from a Mishnah. So the question is it referring to the ox is cheres shoyt b'kotan, or is it referring to the person who owns it? Rabbi Lezer kini masis and wait on the Mishnah. Shor b'cheres shor b'shoyta. If the ox is a cheres, shows the ox is a shoyta, you're potter. Okay. I'm sorry, chayiv. Sorry, chayiv, because it's still you left the open pit there, and that open pit you're chayiv on. Benu bas eved v'amo potter. On the other hand, if a human being falls in, even a minor, then you're not chayiv because they should have realized there was a bor and they're not falling into the bor. Okay, halacha ches echad ashor ve'echad kol be'emon filas abor. They're all the same in terms of falling into a bor. All the halachas the same. The Afrashas Har Sinai, they weren't allowed to go up on Har Sinai. Tashlume Kefo, to pay double, L'Sheva Veda, to be returned if they're lost. L'Prika, to unload if they are overloaded. L'Chasima, not to muzzle. l'kilayim, not to crossbreed, l'Shabbos, and to rest on Shabbos. And so to chaya and even birds. You can't eliminate my shor chamor. Those are normally the animals which are wandering down the street and will fall into an open pit. Okay, so that brings out derivations for all these things. And filas abor. What does the
hafrashas har Sinai mean?
What is what?
The hafrashat har Sinai.
That it says you're not allowed. They weren't allowed to lead and let their animals go up on Har Sinai.
Okay.
The Torah was given. Then filas abor v'nafal shama shor chamor. Okay, an ox. That's the source. Hafrashas har Sinai. This is what you just asked me. They go up. The animal went up on the side of Har Sinai during the time Matan Torah would have to be killed. It's Ashlume Kefal Mishor Chamor. Let's pay double. L'shev Aveda, L'shev Teshiven. L'prika Azov Tazov, which means to support. L'chasima Losa Som Shavadisho. L'kilayim Ben Chol Arbiyat Lo Tabiyat Kalayim. L'Shabbos Man Yinuach Shorcha V'Chamrecha. Chen Chayabo Chayetzaben. Okay, well, actually, that's a two dots. This is a header. A new piece. Avaz yam im avaz yishuv kilayim zebazeh. A duck, which is domesticated, which is a sea duck. They're kilayim. Evidently, they're two different species. Rabbi Yosef says masnisa. The shinus chos. And the Escorial manuscript, which is one of the manuscripts on the Yerushalmi, takes out the word low, which I write here that if you take out the word low, it saves you a lot of ink. Evidently, there's a lot of difficulty understanding the word low. So it should say, and also the word Ella is taken out. So it's being two words hence. So it'd say, Masnisa Omra Kain. Our Mishnah shows that there's such a thing. How? Shorim shor bor chamor chamor kilayim zebazeh. We find that this brisa tells us that there is such a concept of
domesticated and wild animals.
Domesticated wild being kilayim with each other. V'shlokish amar Mishnah shleim ashana Rebbe v'chein chayav ov chayotze bohen. So let's see the Ridbaz here. The Ridbaz here says, Milsach Risa is the new thing. Because he says, Sechaskai Perkama Chilin, the Carmino Shab, Inoi Cloud Kiline Bofos. Is there constant kiline at all by birds? They don't have normal mating. Yes. Rabbi Yochanan said, I seen, I mean the base lab, I seen Siti base labi. I have evidence from the base lady from Brisa. Trying to go to Pensionic Lilaim Zebazeh. The Lama Rabbi Yochanan base lady, Lama Mishnah Shlema. I am sure there explains why I learned from Brisa from base lady, not from a Mishnah. But that's what it says here. Under I seen him base lady. Can I go and Pensionic? Can I go and Tavasas? Abi Shadoim Zebazeh Kilaim Zebazeh. They're kilaim with each other. So we have here clearly this idea of the climb by birds. Okay. Do you have time to go further today? You want to stop here?
We can go further. Okay.
According to Sol Nadir, and you put a sheep in a pen, and the Shnus Chos changes this. This seems quite clear to be a typo. Should not be v'nafal, but b'na'al, which is what it says in the Mishnayos and the Bavli. V'na'al b'na'al, and you lock the door properly in front of this sheep. If you got to see, still they got out and were damaged or potter because you guarded them properly. If you didn't guard them properly, you got to be seeing when that was mazik. Never saw b'layla or but to at least him if it was the gate broke in the night or was get broken by bandits. You got to be seeing when that was mazik potter, or to at least him if the listening took it out. The band at least him chayvin, then the bandits are chayv. Okay. Says what Rabbi Lobashem Rabbi Yanai said, this machlokas, which we have by a shore, Bechon Rabbi Lezer, is the same. This is what we also had previously on Chav Gimel Amid Aleph. Chav Gimel Amid Aleph, I was there. There's all my machlekes in the Gemara. In the beginning of the Gemara, Rabbi Lezer, Divrei Meir, Shmiras and Zokni Shmiras, Shomer. The whole discussion there, whether what's the parameters are of Shmira by an ox, and it's a very complicated Gemara, so I'm not going to get into it right now. But anyway, there's a machlekes, which is the same machlekes. Okay, like we had over there, said it's going according to everybody. It's not a machlekes. There was machlekes here. It's not a machlekes. This is this going like it seems like it's true like Rabbi Eliezer. So evidently by Karen, there's more of an obligation. It's not enough to lock the door. You have to constantly be on your guard for Karen. And there's an opinion over there that ain't Shmir El B'Sakin. There's no way to watch an ox from Karen unless you kill it. I think it's a mayor's opinion. But this is that's not true about here about a regular damage like regular Shane. But if you lock it in front of it, everybody agrees that that's sufficient for that. Ma'ikadun, what's the conclusion? There's some machlekes. It's machlekes whether whether our Mishnah is true according to everybody or not. It says it goes according to everybody. Eastern, some say the Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov the Amar ben kach potter. So the if you take a look at the Bnei Moshe, he says in the sixth wide line, Lezer ben Yaakov Yimastis on Tosefta bePerakei Zev Zepturin, Vainunami ben kach ben chutam ben shemua potter b'shmir b'chusa. So our Mishnah is going like Lezer ben Yaakov. Well, whether it's a tam, whether it's a muad, it doesn't matter. I forgot. I should have said it before. By Karen, there's no machlokes over there, whether it's by time, how much shmir you need by time, how much shmir you need by muad, where's the difference in shmir by time, how much shmir you need by muad. So here we say it doesn't matter. And this is like Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov by Karen. Lezer ben Yaakov by Karen says it doesn't matter, tam or muad, the same shmir, whatever shmir works by one works by the other. Well, shem v'regel, there's no difference between tam and muad. So therefore, everybody's going to agree whatever shmir works. Is like works like Lezer ben Yaakov says whatever shmir works by shore is the same by tam and muad. There are no distinctions. Okay, so everybody it's okay. This is okay when it's closed off on four sides. What about it's closed off on three sides? Now here it says uprutza. Now, there is a different girsa, upartsua. And, of course, if there's in the Escoria, of course, it may or may not make a difference. For prutsa, sounds like it was open on one side. And the other side, partsua, sounds like they abandoned somebody else opening on the other side. Well, let's go with the girsa we have here. Uprutsa mirach achas, it was open on one side. V'yotzi mokom, not the pirza, obviously. The Ephraim, Mechal Mayim, and they say the change it to Gdura. Yes, it was only on one side. It was open, so you were posheya, right? You were negligent, but then the animals didn't go out on that side; they went out from the other side. So are you chayav or not? So the last case is pchilos of b'shia sofo bonus. Okay, if you start off with pshia. You were negligent, but then in the end, you were an onus because it went out the other side.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the standard shot. Lieberman brings down that Rabbi Yochanan holds it. He proves that Rabbi Yochanan, the Yerushalmi, close to B'shia, sofa bonus is always potter. Even you were negligent to begin with, as long as you onus at the end, you're potter. So he wants to say a whole different shot of sugya, which is not a simple shot. That has to do with parameters shmira. Is there such a thing as shmira from three sides? If there isn't a shmira from four sides. But it's much more simple to learn that it's because of a bonus. So, Mao, Nishmini Medo, let's hear from here. Let's write from here. Nova Koslo Miko Hazva. Your wall fell down because of kind of earthquakes. Because from account of thunders vibration. Im amad, if you know circle, if initially, amad here means originally. No circle, you build it properly, potter. Milav chayev. If not, you're chayev. Oh, so it sounds pretty clear that you have to build it appropriately from the beginning. Only that way you're going to be potter, right?
It fell down and did damage. Is that the idea?
What?
Wall fell down and did damage.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's the case.
What are you chayev for? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, damage. It found something. It found something, but it found an animal killed it or something.
Good.
Okay, so if you klum tzricha, what are we talking about here? Klum. What is the question? Lo. In other words, what's the kiddush? Lo b'shenaflam shlosh k'slayim b'riyim mimeno. So it says the Pnei Moshe Tabachov Zayin. Klomak shenafal zeh ha'koyso she'izi koyisham shlosh k'slayim b'riyim mimeno. Shlavu ganki nimo. Shlavu kol habayis. V'zeh ha'koyso haya ru'ua. V'ha'ik amar. So in other words, it's no kiddush. You built the right way. It's partially your potter. That's when it says klum tzricha. Is this necessary? Is there any kiddush here? And then it says no. It's not a case. So let's talk about a case. It's very strange, but we both had a whole house. 3 walls are healthy, and 1 wall was rickety. Come on, this means say, if you had 3 walls built properly, and they fell on account of the earthquakes, koramim, and the thunder. Who's the potter? They potter. If not, if one of them was rickety, even though in this case it fell on account of the earthquake and the thunder, because the healthy walls fell as well. Nevertheless, came on the mainly polu, since the healthy walls also fell down.
No, since the thick wall is ready to fall down at any time.
Yes. So therefore, you're mechayev. So you see, even though this is sova bonus, because the healthy walls fell too, you're still chayev because this wall was a rickety wall. So you see, tchilas b'shia, sova bonus is chayev. Okay. So therefore, even if the animals left on the fourth side, on the side which was fenced in, because you left part of it not fenced in, you're Moshe, so therefore you're chayav. Now, it's not exactly the same case, because here, the rickety wall is much damaged, right? There, it's tantamount. They're going out the fourth side, right? Not exactly parallel. Perhaps that's another reason Lieberman wants to learn the different scenario, because if we exactly parallel, we'd say somehow, well, went out that just like it's the fourth wall damaged, it went out somehow to the open side. I don't know exactly how we'd make it parallel. Anyway, but the Yerushalmi is just learning the principle. So some shiur sova bonus, since the beginning there's a shiur, even though sova bonus you're chayav. Okay, should we go to the Mishnah? I want to stop here.
Sure, we can go to the Mishnah.
There are 4 people not required to pay mikra din. But they're not mochel them in heaven till they pay. Somebody knows testimony for his friend, which would make him win a din Torah. Ve'enamida doesn't testify on his behalf. Din doesn't pay according to the strict letter of the law. When Shemai don't forgive him until he pays. Conversely, Asocher ate a sheker v'gava. I hired false witnesses to testify on my behalf, and based in Paskin on their basis. So, which is a big chiddush. You don't have to pay according to strict letter of law. It's their sin, not yours. But not get mechil and shemai until you pay. Hakovish kamalifnei, or if I take a grain and I bend it in front of an oncoming fire. But parts get lifnei bema, or there's an I like our Mishnah. I burst open your fence in front of your animals. You're not have to pay midaraisa because like a groma. They don't pay. They don't forgive you until you actually pay. Hotzil listim. If the bandits say listim chaim, I'm not sure. Shotzil gozlo when they took it out in order to steal it. And when Moshe says no, then they acquired them. Kamla b'yeshusay, now they belong to them. They have the chayiv nezek. Avotil love if they took out the animals to cause them to scatter and get lost. Then the animals were mazing their parts because they never acquired them, so never liable in them. So very big finish. But that's this guy's still just grabber. The love don't see love, the at least him to him, then the pandits are potter. Okay, Yitzhak Hashem will finish next time. Shkoyach.
Okay, shkoyach.
Have a good week.
Bye.
So we're on replacing 620, replacing tape 629. This is part 2 of the replacement. And we are on Club Sign Ralph Bava Kamma, Halacha Beis. Okay. You have an animal. Left in the sun. Because he gave it into the hands of a person with limited das, a deaf mute, a person who is insane, or a minor. And went down a damaged chayiv because he didn't do proper shmir on it. If you gave it to a shepherd who presumably is a bardas, so the shepherd takes responsibility, not the owner. If an animal fell from a high ledge into somebody else's garden and it damaged, it pays not full damages because presuming that it was proper shmir was done, but whatever benefit he received from the animal falling, such as it been breaking the fall, that destroyed some of the crops, so the animal ate some of the crops. So whatever the hanoah you receive from it, that you pay for. You're kedaka b'zika, but that's only because falling is to be an act of onus. If it went down on its own and it went and damaged the other field, the garden, the shlemus mashizika dam pays whatever it damaged. Kedem shlemus mashizika, how do you pay whatever you damage? So showing based on both so kama yofa kama yofa. We don't go by the actual value of whatever was eaten, but rather how much the value of the field is diminished on account of what was eaten or damaged. Okay, so it's a lesser calculation. Similar idea. If I hit your car and I dent it, I don't pay how much costs to fix the dent, but how much less your car is worth now that it's dented than it was worth before it was dented.
Mm-hmm.
How good it was and how good it is now. If it ate complete, it ate actual fruit, then it pays the value of the actual fruit. I have here a slide on the Girsa, which I wrote down, but I can't read what I wrote here. Instead of Mishalim, I guess it has a Girsa, Shamin, Peres Gemurim. You're paying money, because the Shamin Peres Gemurim sounds like the payment takes place in fruit. But the Square manuscript has not Mishalim Peres Gemurim, but Shamin Peres Gemurim. You reckon the value of absolute fruit. Okay. Whatever it is. It says more. Tani roa shemasal tzona roa. A shepherd gave his sheep over to another shepherd. Rishon chayev. The second one is chayev. Vasheni potter. So the first guy is chayev because he's not giving it to the other guy. And the second guy is potter. Okay, Rabbi Shlok, that's evidently a brisa. Rabbi Shlok is Tabei, they both said, we came to must have Ben Das potter. No, once you give it to a Ben Das, to another shomer, who's also a person who has Das, you're potter. Take a look at the Maraponim on the bottom. Marapon says, Tiny Roa, Haito Septic Masconas Babli the Robasham. Nami Suke Busha Masnisan. Fil Shomer Shamas Shomer Chayim. Okay, Masnisa. I read the Masi Barzli the Urchu Commissions Masnisan. So the Brisa is going like Rabbo Shomer Shamos Chayim, Shomer Chayim. Obviously, Rab and Reish Lakish don't seem to agree with that, right? They both seem to say quite clearly that Shomer Shemos Shomer is Potter if the other guy is a Das, right?
Okay.
Okay, period. That seems to be the end of the conversation. You gave it to a shepherd. The shepherd takes your place and fell into a garden. Bizik on the damages. Mishali mashenis. Then, as we said in the Mishnah, you pay whatever it benefited from. So Rabuna said that which you pay mashenis, it's when it fell on top of grass, right? It damaged the grass. So they're paying for the cushioning of the blow. But if it got up then, after it fell on the grass, and actually grazed in the garden, then that subsequent damage, you have to pay full damages. In other words, that which you only pay mashenenes is on the no of the buffer. On the eating afterwards, that's full damage. Because, yes, getting down there, the other guy saved your property. But once it's down there, you're chayav whatever it eats. Also, you are the kedarka rizika mishlam shizika. Goes without saying. It went down on its own and it started damaging. They pay basically what it damages. So that's once it gets up, it's as if it's your the kedarka. It's no longer an onus. Rabbi Yosef Mer. Also, here it says Sadeh Ptura v'Soyach Chayiv. The Shaitar so changes it. I don't know if it's based on. I think it's based on the Bavli. Osa Shura Petura. That row it's potter, not that whole field. That row it's potter, but Shura Acheres Chayiv. In other words, on that row, you only pay your potter. You only machine nowadays. But to go on to the next row, that's considered to be a lack of shmira, and you should either you should have safeguarded, you should have figured out the animal was there, or somehow it should have been satisfied with one row. I'm not sure exactly, but that's good. At that point, it's b'shayim mashizika. Rabbi Yerushalmi the Tarvein. I mean, they both said afilu ros kol sadeh. So what's the word kula? Even if it was the entire field, Petura. La'olam ena cheres ashetetzei misorol shusarabim dikwanes shusarabim misad acheres. You never decide to pay mashizika until it leaves that field and goes to another field. Okay, and then it leaves that field and goes as shusarabim and comes shusarabim into another field. Now, it's not clear. Obviously, it goes back to the same field, right? But it has to leave that field, going to Shusarabim, and going to another field. That's what they're saying. So then that's going to ask, okay, Ella, no, it's not clear, right? It's ambiguous. Ella naflagina v'yardel tokina acheretz mao. What if it went from one, okay, it didn't go after Shusarabim. Went from one Gina into another Gina. Right? No public thoroughfare in the middle. What's the story? Adai Rabbi Yeschina the Amar Osa, and again according to Shai so Osa Shura Petura, and the Shai so puts in B'Shura Acheres Chayev. Right? In other words, what we said in Amar, if going from row to row, you're Chayev on the second row. Certainly B'Koch Chayev. Yeah, for sure you're going to be Chayev, right? Because it's going from one yard to another yard. So if you're chayav on the second row, you're certainly chayav on the second yard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yep.
Okay. Al died Rabbi Yerushalmi Shlokish Dino Amri Afilu Ros Kol Asodeh. And again, Shai so puts in the word kula here. Patur, So it's not going to be chayav until it goes to a no man's land. In other words, once it leaves leaving a field, going from one field to another field, it's no different going from one shore to another shore. If from one shore to another shore it's potter, from one gina to another gina, it's also going to be potter. It's only going to start being chayav once it gets into an area where nothing's growing. So then I say, okay, it left the garden, right? It left the original garden. It could have gone eating there, but it left that garden. So reason dictates that now if it enters another garden, there's a new achila. And this new achila, it's not a continuation of the first one. So therefore, it's going to be chayav. Okay?
Okay.
Now the Sharatis puts in more words here, says. So the v'kokein, he puts the word v'kokein. In other words, here it's going to be the same thing. And then he puts the words ad kidun b'shenof l'makom roy lipo. If it was on a high place and then it fell in a place that's suitable to fall. What about, in other words, it would not have gone there unless it fell there. Right? So then I say it's onus, and therefore it's potter as long as it does go out to another. You only pay mashanenes until it goes out to another yard. Now, what about, now there's the word afilu, right? Instead of the word ella, the word afilu. In other words, what if it's let's say it was a goat, it was in a low place, right? So it's, and it fell. But it could have gone down on its own, right? It could have gone there even without falling. So that's chilos b'shia b'soifa b'onus, right? Chilos b'shia, because it was, when it's on a high place and it falls, and it could not have gotten down without falling, since chilos b'onus, right? Start up being honest. And therefore you can be potter as long as it's going to be part and parcel of honest. But what about chilos b'shia? It was on a low place. And it could have gone down on its own. Okay, it fell. But it could have gone on its own. So initially you were negligent. Right? You let your goat go somewhere where it could have gone in somebody else's field. Right? So we say in this case it's Mishalim Smashinenes or not. Okay, so and the other way, conversely, you're in a makom shuli pole. Let's say it went down. It's a place where normally it would be falling, and therefore it's close to bonus. But this animal happened to be a sure-footed goat. It got down on its own, right, without falling. So the question is, in this case, what do I say? Is that also tchilasa? Is that considered tchilasa b'oines? Because it was a place where most animals would have to fall in order to get down. But they say no. Hey, this is a pshia because you had a sure-footed animal, so your animal was able to get down. So therefore, you should be chayav. Okay. So the so Rabbi Yosef Chanina, that's kind of said. Skoya puts in the word here. Chuta. I'm not sure why, but that's exactly our Mishnah. He must listen. In other words, the same thing as our Mishnah. That's going to be classified as. As long, even if your animals are short for animals like Butler Das, this goat, it's a cold goats, right? It's an exception to the rule. So therefore, that's chilos bonus over bonus. That's not an issue. Okay. Elanov l'makom shruya lipol. Nafla l'makom shruya lipol. Nafla l'makom shruya le'raid. In all cases, whether it's a place where it's suitable to fall, it fell, or it fell to a place where it's suitable to go down. It's they're both considered to be onus. Just like Rabbi Yochanan said, and the Reish Lakish said in Amud Aleph. And evidently, this is like the Ravid. If you take a look in the Ridbaz, the second line, you have the Ridbaz?
Yeah.
The second line says, "Well, Ravid feel nafla amakom shiachol lireid nami potter." Okay, so anytime there's a tefillah, he's potter. Okay, that evidently that's the Ravid on the Bavli, not the Yerushalmi, but evidently that's taking this Yerushalmi here. Okay, so the no matter which way it falls, that's going to be onus. That's the bottom line. Okay, it's a leniency. Regardless of it fell from a place where it couldn't have, it had to fall, or a place where it could have gone down on its own, it's always considered to be an onus. Okay, you need oh, by the way, I should read the last line in the Ridbaz says Yerushalmi hazeh raya tzum l'shitas Ravid. The Ravid got his evidence from here. Okay, so when it says da tzich l'da b'da tzich l'da, the both of these questions require each other. Shemishalim da tzich l'da b'da tzich l'da, da tzich l'da shemishalim mashenenes, the case where you pay whatever was the benefit was. That in other words, and meaning that it does, just like it doesn't matter how it fell. As long as it fell, you only pay mashinanis. It doesn't matter how it goes down. Whether it goes down, and this argument we just said before, it doesn't argue. It doesn't matter if it goes down from a place where it was right to go down, or even a place goes down from a place where it was really was right to fall, and you had a sure-footed goat. The bottom line is, the Gemara says, no, you always have to pay wherever it went down on its own, you pay mashizika. So datzich means this case, they're symmetrical. In this case, you say both, no matter how it fell, and it's onus until it goes out to another Shusarabi and comes back, or goes back to there, goes to the field. Okay, and the other case is doesn't matter how it went down, even went down a case where it was very difficult, and it was most people, the animals had fallen because this animal went down on its own, so therefore you pay mashizika. Okay, that's the end of that issue. Tani, ein shamin base kur, neshu pogim. You don't estimate the value of field of the damaged area in the area of a base core, which is extremely large, because then it damages the person who was damaged. He's going to get less payment because the patch is going to be worth less vis-a-vis a huge field than it is going to be vis-a-vis a small field. The low base cob, you don't go by the size of base cob, which is extremely small, because then he gets too much, right? He's going to get much too much because the value is much greater. So we do base saw. Base saw is 6 times a base kav and 1/30th of a base core. So that's what we did. That's the size we take when we try to estimate the damage. Now, this is something which is in my memory. I don't know if my memory is accurate, but that once when I was in Chicago, a guy, and I guess it's hard for me to remember if it's accurate or not, but maybe just imagine it was Yerushalmi Bava Kamma. But he would drove past my car and sheared off the mirror. And it was a jalopy, beat up car. I said, really, I'm not chayav to pay you anything. Because the mirror, your jalopy is worth no less without a mirror than it's worth with a mirror. And it's a valid point. I think he paid me in the end something anyway. But the point is that Al Pi Din, he has a valid point. So the question is, do we reckon the mirror based on the door or the mirror based on the car? But that's the question. And the pashtus is you go out the mirror based on the car. So that because that's one unit. So in any event, so that's what I'm saying here, right? Everything is relative, and you have to try and find the medium ground. I always say that this is the way things would function in a world without insurance. In a world without insurance, we are very spoiled. We think that everything should be repaid at replacement value. But a world outreach source, that really doesn't work. So that's why I think that's the way. I think we have to understand why the Gemara is so like this. Okay. So Amr Yehuda said, "Emosai." There's a beauty of the Tano. There's Emosai bismanch ochla ichure te'enim b'kirtim olavi kfanim. When do I say that they are? You don't reckon the value of the plants in themselves when you ate shoots of figs. In other words, they're very young. They just budded. You cured them and gnawed up like funny. Again, shoots of grapes. They're very young, and I think there's not even any fruit which is recognizable. Boser or pagin, if it ate unripe fruits, even though they're unripe, but they're already fruits, shamil pears when you pay pears murim. That's one opinion. So Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda, Mishum Rabbi Akiva, no. Achla pears gemurim, Misham pears gemurim. Only if it ate absolute fruit. That's what the name says. Dafkim achla pears gemurim. Who the Misham pears gemurim? But boser or pagin and roisam kilim pears gemurim. You can't say about boser or pagin that they're pears gemurim. Right? They're not. So therefore, you wouldn't pay the full value if it ate unripe fruit. So Rabbi Yehuda looks at them as if they're, eventually going to come ripe. So pay full price. Because it says no, but Sham right now they're not ripe, so you wouldn't pay would not pay. That's Rabbi Yehuda name. So first Rabbi Yehuda himself. This Rabbi Yehuda named Rabbi Akiva was saying you don't pay full price. All the pays women shine pays women. Tios shine tios. The says more. The tios shamil bay saw. Some say of Nemosha. Come on, phone shamil also neatzman. Kon shem yomi chashuvin. From which ein shuvos kol kach shamilem agav karka bay saw. Shoots karmesis. It depends. Even shoots, there's a differentiation. If they're significant. I guess it's true about certain shoots that they're significant in of themselves. They're almost as valuable as fruit. So then you pay for the value as fruit, not fruit, as shoots. But as they're not significant, they pay based on the field. Mishum ben Yehuda, Mishum Rabbi Akiva said he had a third opinion. First they had Rabbi Yehuda, then Rabbi named Rabbi Akiva, now Rabbi Mishum ben Yehuda named Rabbi Akiva. Tush Levi Ashlishi does kintios. A grain which is not yet a third ripe, it is like it can be like saplings, and it can be actually judged on its own value, which is interesting because I guess even though it's not fully not grown enough that's chayv and meisus, because only chayv meisus when it reaches a third of a good growth. But I guess it's possible still that it has significance in and of itself, as he seems to be saying. Okay, I think we'll stop here because the rest of it is a new sugya, and we just got to where we're supposed to get.
Okay.
So, yeah. Thank you very much. Next we'll go back to our regular.
Okay.
Okay. Shkoyach. Thank you.
My pleasure. Take care. Bye.